Yo, what's going on? I appreciate everybody coming in to check out this late night session because we got to talk about some breaking news that's going on. If you're new to the channel, I'm Marcus. I'm a licensed attorney, also known as the Debt Free Dad, where we talk finances and attorney reactions to current events. Always got to toss out a disclaimer: licensed attorney, multiple places. None of those places amount to me being your counselor. Legal, financial advice, you're looking for any of that stuff, go find a professional in your area. Now, I would like to start by saying a few things. First of all, I don't know, like people like my generation, we see some wild stuff that most people probably never would think they would have seen during the course of one lifetime. I mean, think about it. We've seen domestic terrorist attacks on U.S. soil, international terrorist attacks on U.S. soil, multiple wars. We've seen pandemic. We've seen one, two, two and a half, maybe three economic collapses. Now, on top of that, we get a former president, a current presidential candidate, assassination attempt, which is something that I'm gonna just be honest. I like. It was a when somebody told me because I actually got a call and somebody told me because I don't really watch the news like that. Like it could pop up on my phone, but I don't know. I was doing something, chilling, doing something in the house, and someone called me and was like, "Trump got shot," and I was like, "Yeah, right. There ain't no way Trump got shot." I was like, "If Trump got shot, I would have heard about it." I go on my phone and lo and behold, I was like, "Damn, this is a real thing. This actually happened." So we definitely have to talk about it now. I guess let me give a a little bit of background, okay? During my time in the military, I served on several many a lot. I can't even think of how many, but several operations where I was on the team of persons in charge of protecting a high value asset. So uh, I understand and have some training in the logistics as to how that's set up. I guess the second thing that I think is kind of applicable in a past life, I also was in charge of a unit that had armed agents and other professional disciplines. And being in the area of the United States that I'm located in, it's not uncommon for certain events that are really big events where really big wigs come where they would need extra manpower. So sometimes the special agents would get tasked from my shop to have to go and participate in security services for elected officials, and we'll just leave it at that. And a lot of the agents I know one of my agents, he used to be detailed to, I think he worked for the Clintons, if I'm not mistaken, Hillary Clinton in particular, which he wasn't too happy about, but that's a whole nother story for a whole nother video. But we got to talk about this. So if you haven't been hiding under a rock, there was an assassination attempt on former President Trump during his rally. Now, the first thing I want to say is, me personally, I don't care what your political beliefs are. I don't wish uh, death on nobody. Like that's just something I don't do. Considering I've actually been to an active war zone with actual real combatants, with actual real bullets flying past your head and explosions and engagement and all of that stuff. It's crazy. Maybe this is just me, but I think it's crazy for people to actually be on the internet like, oh man, did they get him or they should have got him? That shit is wild. That shit is lame. I think that's a terrible view, and anybody who's talking like that is really ridiculous. Okay, I don't care what your political views are, uh, what your political ideologies or policies are. Generally, I don't wish death on anybody bad. And I'm also seeing a lot of comments out there where like, oh, this is made up, this is done for publicity and all this and that. Like, yo, let's just, I don't know. Like, we can't be that ridiculous. You have to take the situation as you perceive it until you get facts to the contrary. I don't see how a situation can be it one, two, a person actually died here. Rest in peace to that person's family. And a lot of people are going to be traumatized from this event. A lot of y'all probably never been in a use of force incident, been shot at, or having to shoot somebody. The shit's not easy, okay? Either way, if you're being shot at, if you have to return fire, it's not easy, and it's something that'll stay with you probably forever. One person lost his life, another person was extremely severely injured, and I don't know. I think they said they was in critical condition, but this is absolutely insane. I never thought I would see anything that would happen like this. What's going on? I wanted to, hey, shout out to everybody tuned in. Swift, I'm one of the Swifties when it comes to this subscriber here, but it was a close call for sure. Right now, there's mixed reports out as to whether it was a bullet that went by and gave him that superficial wound, or if it was some reports said it was a bullet that ricocheted and maybe shrapnel from the bullet separating or the object it hit or something to that effect. Either way, it's some shit that shouldn't happen. And anybody who's think it's fake or was a setup or think that or wish that something ill would have happened for the former president, you should probably kick yourself in the ass because that's a terrible way to go. What's going on, sis? I appreciate you for tuning in. Everybody tuning in. Yeah, Trump is terrible. Hey, this is fair. Trump is terrible, but this is the first time I've seen him act bravely. Violence, whether it's political or not, is unforgivable. My sentiments exactly. Like, yo, I feel exactly the same way to both statements. Like, I don't know. It- I know a lot of. I think it's goofy, but I see a lot of comments on social media, people saying that, oh, this is a ploy for to get a boost in the polls. I don't see it that way because yeah, fortunately or unfortunately, I was deployed in a combat zone in 2003 in a combat arms unit, one of the very first people to go across from Kuwait to Iraq at the start of the war when they had actual soldiers and it was real life engagement. And his reaction to what was happening seemed 100% genuine to me. I can't see that it would be staged. I think his reaction seemed 100% genuine to me. Now, I will tell you, there are some things that I think are security lapses, which I'm confused as to how they happen. But typically, when you had these situations, right? Let me see. Nah, I don't think anybody. I don't think anybody who is being relatively objective would say that it was staged. Like, I don't know. You got to call the situation how you perceive it until you have facts to the contrary. So, without any facts to the contrary, I don't see, I don't know. I just can't see anybody. I could see someone doing that for clout, but I don't think this is that situation. And I leave it like that. Yeah. Name on a national accomplishment or a national incident that doesn't have a conspiracy theory attached. Yeah, they are gonna have some conspiracy theories. I already know they people gonna be like, oh, it was the DNC and it's the same guy who shot Kennedy. Like it is already gonna get wild, but I think it was genuinely a real incident. I'm interested to see how the investigation goes. We aren't gonna find a lot about the shootout, probably for at least shit, three of it probably be 2 or 3 days before they even release the name of whoever the shooter is. But normally in these situations, and I can only speak from having formalized training in the military in the combat arms unit when you're protecting a high value asset. You normally have a few teams set up. Generally, it's 3 teams. Normally, of course, you want to You want to recon the area, sweep the area, make sure there's no crazy shit going on. But you're going to have the number one mission is to protect the asset. Engaging the target or the threat is the number two mission. So you're going to have a protection team who's charged with protecting the asset. You're going to have another team that's in charge with engaging the threat. Normally, if it's an event like that, a situation, when they do the recon, they're going to identify any areas that could give a potential shooter a line of sight. Normally, that's elevated areas. That's why you always see somebody went up to the water tower or the rooftop. People normally want to get up high. So, normally, what they'll do is all of the rooftops within a certain amount of feet, yard, whatever you want to call it, they'll normally occupy. They'll clear those buildings, occupy those rooftops, and they'll have their own snipers up board. So there's some interesting audio that actually came out. And I don't know if you all saw it, but there's some interesting audio that came out with people in the audience. You can hear people in the audience actually pointing out the individual who was the shooter on the roof. Like they were actually able to see him, and you could hear persons in the audience trying to get the Secret Service and security's attention to that individual who was on that rooftop. Now, how the hell he got on that rooftop and had that line of sight is beyond me. But from the looks of it, I mean, we're probably like a half a centimeter away from this going from a failed attempt to actually being a successful one. And that's wild in and of itself. Let's see. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember. This is like when TR was shot running as a third candidate. He finished the speech and gave out his notes with bullet holes. Thank you for your service. I appreciate that. Yeah, this is just, and I'm gonna just tell you too, just from a political standpoint, this is my personal opinion. Okay, I'm gonna throw this out here off the break. Okay, I'm personally not impressed with either candidate. I'm not impressed with I'm not impressed with Joe Biden, and I'm not really impressed with Donald Trump. It was funny because when they had the debate, my father called and was like, "Man, I thought Joe Biden did okay," and I just laughed and I was like, "Yeah, that's because y'all damn near in the same age bracket." But like, I'm personally not impressed with any candidate. But I will tell you, historically, when assassination attempts happen, is a few things that happen. Okay. Point number one, normally if an assassination attempt happens, and y'all can historically look this up throughout the United States, look it up overseas. But normally when an assassination attempt happens, it's always directed. Assassination attempt is never directed towards the person who's projected to fucking lose. I'm just being, hey, let's just be honest, right? we got to be honest. Like, if it's two candidates, one is looking like he got it's like a snowball going downhill. It's just getting bigger and bigger, and the other one is wavering. An assassination attempt never occurs on the person who is like, oh man, yeah, let's take out the guy who's losing because he's threatening my guy who's going to win. That's just kind of normally not how it happens. Normally, historically, when an assassination attempt occurs in a democratic system, we'll say democratic with air quotes because some places it's not really democratic, even though they say it is. But normally, under your general democratic system, when an assassination attempt occurs, it's targeting the candidate who has the stronger possibility of winning just statistically. That's just kind of what it is. So anytime you see something like this, the the party who had the attempt is probably on the verge of stomping a mud hole in the opposing party. That's just kind of normally how these things play out. And so, the question I dropped in the chat, y'all let me know if y'all think that this is something that's going to incredibly boost his President Trump's chances of winning re-election, or you think it's not going to have an impact. I mean, like I agree with the comment that Daniel made earlier. Like, say what you want to say about Trump, but I think his reaction was a genuine reaction. I don't think this was staged or bogus. I've trust me, I've seen people with bullets that hit him being standing right next to him, and when they graze by your head and you hit a whiz versus a snap. I've been there, I've done that. His reaction looked genuine, and you got to give him a lot of credit because everybody think that they can look tough in a firefight, or if someone does something to my family, I'll exercise my Second Amendment rights. Most people won't do that shit. It's like your nerves will get the best of you. So considering what the situation was, he actually handled himself very well. He was very observant, and I'll be honest, he actually had very good reaction. His reaction time was really impressive. He notices the superficial wound. He hears someone shout, gets down, and he gets down immediately. I was like, man, he was clearly thinking. He was observant of what was going on. I think he reacted great. I give credit to the Secret Service. I actually think they did an outstanding job. Now, I do have a question about again that line of fire rooftop access. That's a little fucking confusing how that happens, but I think generally as a whole, they did a great job of one getting the president down and getting them out of there, and getting the injured persons to the hospital as well. So I think they did a good job in that aspect of it. And hey, y'all seen the thumbnail? Like I'm not gonna lie, when they took him out, President Trump is one thing that he's very, very good at. He I think the fact that President Trump is probably the greatest marketer we've ever seen in the political space. Ronald Reagan might be up there because he was an actor, but I think Trump is his greatest tool is his ability to market, his ability to use his name to increase value or something. And when I watched that replay, I was actually thoroughly impressed when they tried to rush him off stage. He was like, no, 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 wait, wait, wait. And he gave his little fist up and start chanting fight, and the crowd went ballistic. And I'm not gonna lie, like, yo, that shit looked fire. Like y'all can say what y'all want, but in that moment, I don't think maybe this is just me, but anybody who when I watched that video, I was like, damn. I mean, I watched that video. I was like, damn, Trump, this is actually impressive. This this is actually impressive how you handled this situation. So I'm gonna give him some kudos. I was thoroughly impressed at how he reacted. He didn't start crying like a little bitch. He wasn't shaking and crying in his own boots. I think he handled the situation relatively well, and he had the wherewithal to capitalize on the marketing. Because I mean, I'm telling you right now, I think his donations to his campaign. You thought his donations to the campaign went through the roof after he got that conviction. His donations are about to go through the roof. They're gonna have all of these pictures on a T-shirt. Like, I mean, like, I think it's gonna help his campaign tremendously. And hey, this a completely objective. One side is reeling and one side isn't reeling. I think this is definitely going to help him big time. Let's see these comments. This is definitely a different time we live in, though. This generation is numb to murder and violence now, so this wouldn't help his campaign one bit. No, I mean, I don't know. I agree with that, though. I agree with the first part of that station. I think we all numb to it. I think everything is, it's pretty much a split down the middle. You got half people who like it's like three groups. You got like the MAGA guys who are all for Trump. Then you got the extremely blue guys who like I don't care how many times Joe Biden introduces Vladimir Zelensky as Vladimir Putin. I'm voting for him. Then you kind of got those guys in the middle, like, man, this dude losing it. This guy kind of wild. I don't know. I might just sit this one out. But I think that base over there, I think Trump's base is locked in. I think it was a small percentage of people who probably voted for Trump, Republicans who voted for Trump, who were like I don't know. I personally think that this one act, we love the stage, we love the performance. Like, I mean, just think about it. Like, think of it from a that's crazy. I heard something outside. But from a non-political aspect, the comeback story is something that we generally like as the United States. We like the comeback story. We like the kid who. This is how I know we like the comeback story. I actually watched the summer league game yesterday with Bronny James playing, and he sucked so bad. I was like, man, I hope he just scored 30 so people get off his back. Like, we like the comeback story. So the story of somebody who had a traumatic event and fell off, the rapper who got shot 9 times and became a successful businessman. What the hell? Yo, you hear that out there? God damn, that's crazy. Sorry. You start that's how it is in the city. You start talking about a assassination attempt and it sounds like it's one outside. It's crazy. That's why I it plays into his argument that he has the stamina for the next 4 years. I mean, I I agree with that. I think that, like policy aside and whether he does a good job or not, optics are something that we just can't ignore. I watched the debate. When that debate came on, I was sitting there with my popcorn, like I was like, hey, I actually thought about having a debate party just so we can observe it. And literally in the first 2 minutes, I was like, oh man, this dude made a mistake already. He's like, yeah, we had 15,000 jobs since I've been in office. And I just was like, this isn't good. This is a sad state. But hey, that's the candidate they put out there. So they probably, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, guys, but I would be shocked. I would be shocked if this is a second term for our current president. I just don't think the tea leaves are in his favor. All the polls, he's down compared to where he was the previous year. I mean, I think the biggest thing, a lot of people just gonna sit this one out. They're gonna be like, you know what? Both of these candidates are so I'm gonna just go ahead and set it out. And somebody setting it out, yeah. I never thought about that though. Yeah, because Reagan, yeah, that the Reagan assassination, that was I think May or March of '81. That's how I know I'm old. I was like, damn, that was May or March of '81. DFD up there in age. Yeah, that was the year brother was born. But yeah. So yeah, it was two actors, Reagan and well, I don't know if Trump is necessarily an actor. I think he's more of a TV. Damn. That- oh, I'm tripping. All right. Those fireworks, right? Yo, okay, yeah, those fireworks. I was like, God damn, what the hell are they trying to do out there? Like, I don't understand how these dudes have fireworks for 6 weeks after the 4th of July. It gets absurd. Yeah, because he is a businessman, not a politician. Even more reason for him to stay in the boardroom and not the White House. Uh, I don't know. I think the big appeal initially for Trump. I think when Trump first ran, him and Bernie Sanders were the two people who had the most appeal because they were different. Like when if you're going through the same thing over and over, like damn, you don't make enough money, inflation suck ass, I'm not getting pay raises to keep up. Like at some point in time, you're gonna be like, you know what? I want somebody who's completely different. I'm tired of getting these people who've been a congressman or a governor and then they go to the White House. So I think him being in the boardroom was probably the reason he actually won. Had he been a lifetime politician, and then the longer you're a politician and the longer track records you have, the easier it is for people to dissect you. That's why it was kind of relatively, it wasn't easy, but Obama kind of had an easy slide to get into the White House because he was on his first term as senator. He didn't enact and stand on a bunch of legislation. So when it came time to debate, nobody had really anything to hit him over the head with. because he didn't have a strong legislative record or well aged legislative record. I guess would be the better way to put it. Mm. Yeah, man, these damn fireworks are getting ridiculous, man. Fireworks, my damn dog be losing his mind and everything. Let's see. I think the issue Trump will have now, in his own words, when Nancy Pelosi's husband was beaten, he made jokes. When school kids were shot and killed, he said, "Get over it." Yeah, but unfortunately, we got a short memory. People generally live in the moment. Like once one thing happened, people completely forget about the other thing that happened. Like we are a straight microwave society. So once this thing happened, it'll consume everything else. Like, because I'll be honest, like I'm gonna prove to you how we live in the moment. Because I didn't think once about. I forgot all about Nancy Pelosi husband getting attacked with a ballpoint hammer hitting the head, which was crazy and wild. I haven't thought about that once. I actually forgot about it until you mentioned it. So I don't think it is a catch 22 because who's if you're Trump had a failed assassination attempt, right? If someone comes out and like, who's going to actually say that to bring that up? Like, that's never going to be a talking point that's made. You know how you'll get shredded if somebody was like, well, he had a failed assassination attempt against his life. But remember when Pelosi husband got attacked with that hammer? He didn't really think it was a big deal. Like no, I just think that that person will get carved to death in the media. And then the other thing too is, I'm gonna just be honest, Democrats won't pull that card because Democrats don't really play politics like super aggressive. They kind of like, I humbly yield to Senator Rosenbaum. Democrats try to be like real aristocratic with it. So I don't think they're gonna even make those comparisons. Now the voters might, but I don't think they'll make those comparisons. I'm gonna show you that this is the exact difference. And how can I explain this? Unfortunately, and if I think most people would agree with this, no matter what side of the aisle you're on. Democrats historically don't play the game of politics as well as Republicans, in my opinion. I think Democrats think maybe one or two election cycles ahead, and I think Republicans think like 7 or 8 election cycles ahead. Now, this is the prime example. This past few weeks, everybody has been spazzing out over the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court essentially gave out a ruling. They didn't say the president had absolute immunity. What they said was the president has immunity when it relates to official acts. Anything that's deemed an official act, the president would have absolute immunity. Now, here is what kind of gave the president a lot of broad authority. They said during the inquiry stage, uh, during an investigation, they can't even inquire into the facts to determine if the act was official or not. So if I say the president has absolute immunity for any act that's an official act, but you can't question the act to find out or make a determination if it was an official act, that's actually beautiful for me if I'm the president because I'm gonna just call everything an official act. And what I saw in the news, I saw everybody livid. I saw Democrats saying like, "Oh, this is terrible. The Supreme Court with this ruling, like Trump is going to use this and say that everything is he's acting in an official capacity when he can use law enforcement or the Justice Department at his whim." And the whole thing, this is the distinction between Democrats and Republicans. That ruling came out that gave the president this kind of broad authority. And, and the only thing that Democrats said was when Trump gets in office, he's going to use this to his advantage. President Biden is sitting in office right now. That ruling that the Supreme Court made was a ruling that's favorable to who's ever the president at the current moment. So right now, while they're scared about how Trump is going to use this Supreme Court ruling. You have a president in office now who, if they really wanted to, they could use this Supreme Court ruling in their favor, but Democrats won't because they don't play those type of political games. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays. But generally, I just don't think Democrats play politics as well as Republicans. Even with the appointment on the Supreme Court, they told Obama, you can't nominate a justice in your lame duck final year in office. And he was like, okay, I guess I won't do it. And then like Trump's final year in office, he was like, no, I'm about to nominate anybody. Y'all can't tell me who I can't nominate. So like, I don't know why they listen to the other side, but that's the frustrating thing about Democrats. I'm like, man, these dudes like really kind of like being losers. It feel like he's caused all of these issues by handing out Trump bucks. Everybody looking for more money from him. Hey, we gotta. Hey, I can't. There's always a lag in policy versus the impact. Okay, so like when Trump was in office, the economy was relatively booming, and so realistically, those first few years he were in office, however the economy did, you got to kind of give Obama a lot of credit because policies come into play, and it takes some years for those policies to impact the economy. But I'm gonna be honest, like, hey, I'm not saying I'm a Trump fanboy. I'm actually a independent in the middle, and I think I started this out by saying both candidates are kind of terrible. Both candidates are kind of terrible. But hey, Trump bucks. If we gonna talk about Trump bucks in the economy, I don't know what y'all investment portfolios did during. I need to look to see how it's going. But I'll tell you, real story from the time Trump entered the White House to the time he left the White House, my investment portfolio doubled. Now I'm not saying that. That being said, I'm not saying that you should vote solely based on your economic interest. But if you do, nobody go fault you. But that's actually not normal. Like normally, it takes about 7 years for your money to double in the stock market. So for that to happen in a 4 year term is absolutely insane. So like, hey, some credit when it comes to the stock market not completely collapsing. I will give to the Trump administration because they printed out a bunch of money and they made sure they propped that market up. And during the pandemic, everybody thought the market was going to crash, and that was a prime time to make some money. So I don't know. It's all yeah. The only thing I can say is go out there and vote. But at the end of the day, no matter who you vote for, you're gonna have some legitimate shit to complain about. Whether it's abortion rights, whether it's the Voting Rights Act, whether it's the border, whether it's the economy, whether it's the expiration of the Trump tax cuts, whether it's the inclusion or the remaining of the loopholes that really negate the tax cut, is you mean they don't have morals? I'm not saying. Is there morals in politics though? Like I don't know. Like, isn't the whole point to like win? Like, like I don't know. Like the point is to win and win within the confines of the rules. And the rules can. One of my homeboys from law school, put a question up. If you play sports, what lesson did you learn from sports? And everybody was like, how to work as a team and how to practice and strive for greatness. One of the things one of the things I put is learn how to not break the rules, but how to bend them to your advantage. And that's what a good politician should do. But what the hell you think? That's what I do every day. As an attorney, that's what I get paid to do. I literally get paid to, hey, what are the rules? Well, literally, somebody will want to do something, and they'll be like, oh, and I would go to them and I'd be like, tell me what you want to do. Don't point to me asking questions. Let me know what you want to do. If you tell me what you want to do, let me figure out let me figure out a way that you can do it legally or get as close to what you want legally. That's the whole name of the game. That's the whole point of being a good politician or a good attorney, it ain't about you don't want to break the rules, but you want to bend them to the point where you want to bend them to the point where they ain't broke, but they working in your favor or your client's favor. So I don't know. I think they gotta learn how to bend the rules a little bit and make those rules a little bit more advantageous to them personally. Obama tried, they tied it up and didn't let it come forward to a vote. He tried. I'm not saying, hey, I'm not. It's like think about it. Like think about how genius this would be, right? Sometimes you have to see. I wish I was a political strategist, right? Because sometimes you just have to have a you have to submit legislation and use it to your advantage. So right now, technically, kind of, sort of, because we got a couple of there's a couple of senators who aren't are Democrats in name only, but let's use something easy like student loan forgiveness, right? Student loan forgiveness, it typically polls relatively high. Most people like now they are them old school cats like college was 35 cents out there. Now I pay my 35 cent off. Yeah, I can pay y'all 300,000. But generally, student loan forgiveness poll high across the board, Democrats and Republicans, because they both get student loans at an even clip, right? But this is how politics should be strategic, right? Democrats have the White House. They kind of have the Senate. We're giving them the Senate, and they don't have the House. Either party could do this, and it would be a political victory. Whichever is the first party to propose legislation to forgive student loans, they can do 10, 15, $20,000, any number. Because think about it. If President Biden came out and said, I'm proposing I'm sending a proposal and I want the Senate to support this legislation to do $20,000 of student loan forgiveness for everybody with a federal student loan across the board. That's what the White House proposes. They got control of the Senate. The Senate passes it, and it gets to the House where the Republicans are in charge. Do you think they're going to pass it? No, they're not going to pass it. But then that works out perfect for the Democrats. You can say, yo, we presented this bill and look, they knocked it down. They didn't want to do it. Or if they do pass it, which they won't, but if they do pass it, now they can say, hey, y'all wanted it and we put it up. Hey, bipartisanship. And it could work the exact opposite way. The Republicans could do the same thing. The Republicans can present a bill to cut student loan forgiveness for $20,000 in the House and pass it and send it to the Senate and the president. If they pass it, the Republicans say, "We, you know what? We forgave a portion of y'all student loans to help out everybody." If they don't pass it, which they won't, then they can say, "Hey, we tried, but they didn't do it." So there's some gamesmanship that can be played here, but I don't know. I think there's some gamesmanship that can be played, but people aren't really maximizing it. I don't know. Yeah, I think they are a little soft when it comes to politics, and I think that's going to come back around and kick them into this election cycle. Yeah, y'all people who are in those say like y'all people, especially if you're in like those places that's kind of close, like Virginia or them swing states or something. Yeah, y'all definitely got to go out there and vote for y'all candidate. Don't write in somebody and like, hey, well, do what you want, but it would behoove you to vote for somebody, whoever has your interest at heart. And I tell you, vote your interest. Like I don't prescribe to I'm going to vote this way because of this. Typically and statistically, I don't know if y'all know this, but statistically, the United States and the economy normally thrives when they have when one party doesn't have control of everything. If you look at the economy across the board, the economy normally is the best when you have like Democratic White House, Republican Congress, and when anytime is all across the board, the economy is always terrible. So I think there's a little bit of balance there. But yeah, you definitely got to go out there and vote for your interests. If you want to vote for the guy who survived the assassination attempt, cool. If you want to vote for the other guy who created 15,000 jobs in his word, but I think it was 15 million, but whatever. It is what it is. Spoken like a true attorney. When before, what do you, that's the name. What else else are you supposed to do? Like, come on now. If you came to me asking me a legal question and I was like, well, the law is pretty straight. It ain't no gray area. It's no tippy toe. You're gonna think I'm whack. You're gonna be like, man, this attorney is terrible. I don't want to hire this guy. You want the attorney to be like, look, all right, this is what the law says. However, there are some gray areas that we could tiptoe around and kind of bend, and that's the name of the game. You gotta kind of bend things to your advantage, and I think the Democrats need to do a better job of that. And because they don't do a better job of that, I think it's going to come around and kick them in the you know what. Yeah, we vote for the other side of the world. Even our sons take part in federal elections. One benefit is double taxation and dual citizenship. Yeah, I know it's weird too. I remember you talking me out of Aaron. You talking me out of buying a property overseas because I was like, oh man, the U.S. do got this whole double taxation thing, and they like the only country who does that too. Like apparently no other country does that. If you got like, but the United States like, nah, y'all gonna pay us this tax money. So I don't know. I just think this is crazy. I can't wait to see what comes out with regard to the shooter, what the motives were. I don't think that it's anything that I don't think that is anything that was staged. I think talk of it being a setup, considering life was lost, is premature and a little bit reckless personally. And I think it's also ridiculous for anybody to be excited or disappointed because the attempt was unsuccessful. That's lame as hell. Like if you if if the way for political victory is by getting rid of the other candidate, that means the person you like or your party probably really sucks ass. So I think that's a terrible way to look at it. But I wanted to just jump on here, see what y'all was thinking about. I see what y'all was thinking about this whole thing that happened. One of two or three, but the only democratic country. Yeah. I'm a little down today, y'all. I don't like the fact that let me turn the page and give y'all the reason I'm a little down today. I don't like the fact that my daughter is growing up. It didn't hit me until like maybe an hour or two before I actually started this live stream. My daughter's birthday coming up, and she went to a concert today with her mother. My daughter went to a concert with her mother and some of her friends to go see Janet Jackson. Now, there's a few things. I was like, man, one, Janet Jackson got some wild music. I hope she don't play those wild ass songs, but that's neither here nor there. But they going out, and she, was like, I mean, she about to be a teenager, she going out, but I just don't like the fact that she's going to concerts. Like, whatever happened to the days of like toys and like I don't know, wanting to go to a bounce house or go karts or Chuck E. Cheese's or some shit? Like I don't know, I don't like it. It's kind of bothering me. I actually thought about going when they're like, "Oh, we're going to see Janet Jackson." I'm like, man, but I don't know. I can't sit through the Rhythm Nation tour, whatever the fuck it's called. But yeah, I just don't like this whole growing up thing. It's kind of it's kind of getting ridiculous. But believe the only country with it written into the Constitution, so that much hope of it ever being undone. Yep, this is true. This is true. They're gonna get that tax money. Yeah, I didn't like it too. I didn't even like her outfit, and her outfit wasn't even bad. Like I looked at her, and my wife was like, "You don't like her outfit?" And I was like, I think my exact words were, I was like, "Nah, her outfit actually bad. Her outfit wasn't like, I mean, my daughter ain't gonna go out the house looking all stank or nothing like that." I just didn't. My exact words was, I was like, "Nah, her outfit fine. I just don't like her body. I just don't like it. Like, why are you getting so tall? I need you to be short and stubby. Continue to talk with a lisp until you're like 32." But I don't know. That's unrealistic. And now that my son is going to be going to college, like, if somebody does bother her, I don't have like an older son who I could just have go to the school and like threaten to beat up the other kid or something. Not that I would tell him to do that, but your son, your oldest is like the first line of defense, and I don't know. oldest is the first line of defense, and now that he leaving, I'm the first line of defense, and it's problematic for me. But hey, somebody too. I ain't gonna name no names, but Aaron, did you ask about that test? Okay, all right, all right, all right. I was asking my. I have no doubt she could threaten the boys herself. Yeah, yeah, she'd be. Yeah, she could fight. She'd be alright. She could fight. She know about the secret weapon, kick them in the nuts. So she's very well versed and able being able to handle themselves. I know one of my friends today, their son took the SAT, ACT, one of those type of things. So one of those tests that I didn't even know they still make you take anymore. But that's why I was just asking my son, did he find out about the test? Because wanted to know how he did. I was like, man, how did he feel? Like, I don't know. Like, some people take tests and say, oh man, I don't know how I did. But every time I took a test, trust me, when I took a test and I fucked up, I was like, oh man, I did terrible. And if I took a test and I felt good about it, I was like, oh, I felt good. So I was asking my son if he talked to his friend, and it was one of those. It was one of those. It was one of those tests. I knew it was one of those tests. But yeah, yeah. Aaron said that he felt good when he took it, and so that's a plus. If you feel good after the test, there's a chance that you probably did relatively okay on the test. Because if you don't know what the fuck you're doing, you're not gonna feel good. Trust me, I've been there, done that. It is what it is. But hey, that's all for this video. I think next Friday I'm gonna get back into actually having guests on the show to talk about stuff. I got a guest that I think I'm gonna bring on. He might be the first of 2024. I'm gonna go back to doing it maybe every other Friday or something like that. I used to do it, but then it just got, brother was jobless, then brokeless, and then had to get a new job and had to learn all of that stuff. But now that I got my groove back, I think I'm gonna start having some guests on the show so we could talk about some topics and some fun thing. So I think this Friday will probably be the first. I'm gonna try to do it this Friday because next Friday is probably gonna be complicated. I think next Friday my son gotta go rap somewhere at some club, so I gotta go play security and shit. But yo, that's it for this video. Let me know what y'all think in the comments if you're watching this on a replay about this whole situation. Hey, everybody, let's just keep it non-violent. Let's vote your opinion. Let's vote. Let's voice your opinion. Everybody has a right to opinion, but like all the goofy shit, we gotta really cut it out because right now I feel like everybody is laughing. Like, I don't like being the laughing stock of the globe. Okay, like leave that shit to like somebody else. Like I don't know, like some other country. But I feel like right now everybody is looking like, man, like the United States don't got their shit together, which is true. But like it's one thing. You know how your parents would tell you, like, hey, what happens in this house stays in this house. It's one thing when we look crazy internally, but when we start looking crazy to the external partners abroad, I can't go for that. Okay, that violates the black household rules. What happens in the house stays in the house, but we're gonna have our shit together when it comes to everybody outside of the house. So right now, I feel like we looking a little goofy. They are laughing. I can tell you that. I know they laughing because I know they laughing because I remember the last time I was out of the country. Somebody was like, they like apologize. I was in a restaurant. This random guy just was like, "Hey man, I feel sorry that y'all got to go through all of that stuff politically." And I was like, "Huh?" Yeah, I feel like the laughing stock of the globe. Okay, I feel better. I thought it was just me, which is crazy because like I'm like, like okay, if Biden wins, great. If Trump wins, great. I personally don't think either one of them is going to impress me, but you are looking crazier than a Real Housewives reunion episode. That is terrible. Okay, Aaron, you let me know the pulse with our external partners, other countries across this beautiful planet. And right now, we looking like goofy. So, United States, let's get our shit together. Let's just have a democratic process with no more bullshit. Cut it out. Let's not have no riots. Let's not have no talk. I mean, I Googled Trump assassination and I saw crazy ass videos like civil war starting and all this stuff. And I'm like, it's a shit show. So, hey, we're going to see how this whole thing pan out. Do y'all think Biden actually gonna stay in though? Like real talk. Before we get out of here, do y'all actually think he gonna stay in? Do y'all? Let's. The first question is, okay. Do you think Biden mental faculties are sharp enough that he can serve as the commander in chief of the army and as the president of the United States? That's question number one. Okay. That's question number one. Do you think he has the mental faculties to do so? And let me know in the comments if either a Y for yes or N for no. I'm sure y'all probably know what my thought is on this. Okay. But do y'all think that President Biden has the mental faculties to effectively perform the job as the president and the commander in chief of the armed forces? Now, I give y'all my answer. Okay. And I guess the best way to put it is, well, there's a couple of things because as this thing progresses, we're finding out new information all the time, right? But let's just reduce it down to the most simplest level. And I think I heard two people having this argument. I put it on social media. I heard two Democrats arguing about if Biden should stay in or if he should bow out of the race. And so one guy asked the other, he said, "Hey, would you trust President Biden to borrow your car and drive your kids an hour away if the seatbelts were broken in your vehicle?" And the other guy was like, "Fuck no." Hey, I'm not saying that, I just thought that was a funny way to to define it. But how I look at it is if Vladimir Putin, if the president of China, Yi, and Joe Biden, if those three people with no staff members, you got Biden, Putin, president of the United States, president of Russia, president of China, all in the room together, and they have 3 hours to negotiate something. Do you think that Biden can negotiate something that's in the best interest of the United States in that 3 hour span? I don't know, man. I have to be honest here. Yeah, not sure the debate was worrisome. He'll be like Feinstein or Justice Ginsburg. But to me, that's just as undemocratic is right up there, in my opinion. In my personal opinion, what they did to Dianne Feinstein was elder abuse. Trotting that lady out there, Nancy Pelosi's like daughter was her caretaker. I have no clue what policies she was actually putting out in that. I don't think she had the capability to do her job. And let's say that this is the case. Let's say that Biden is slipping and slacking. Whether I personally think, hey, he's a little bit shaky. My pops is 74, and Biden looked kind of wild sometimes in his reactions. I mean, I've seen this. I've seen judges who are in their 90s, and you have to hurry up and do your cases. You don't want to come back in the afternoon when they cranky, their blood sugar low, everybody going to jail. You be like, I got to get my shit done in the morning so my client can have a shot at some freedom here. And so, but let's say he can't do it, right? Like, if he can't do it, should he actually stay in? Because if he can't effectively do the job, who is making the calls? I didn't. Is it his wife? If that's the case, I didn't. People didn't vote for Jill Biden. The administrative staff are there to guide the presidents and make decisions with their particular area of expertise. Like the Secretary of Education can talk about the educational stuff. But I don't know. Like, I think there clearly is an issue there. All right. I think if you don't observe there being an issue there, I think that's just you being ridiculous. I think there clearly is an issue there with Biden's on Biden's side. If there is an issue there that relates to your ability to do the job, I don't think that that person could be a viable candidate. I can't. It's hard for me to say I'm gonna vote for somebody who can do the job, but they got to be in bed by 8:30, or like he said he needed more rest, or after 8:30 he loses his steam and he got to go late down. Like shit happened at 9:15, bro. Like 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, shit could go down. Something can happen internationally that's at 0 dark 30. You have to be able to think, react, be able to, you know, get all the information and make an informed decision without being lost in the sauce. So I think that is a problem for me personally. Reagan served with dementia, but he had people who were trustworthy. I think Biden has those same people. Trump, I'm not sure he does. They both have cognitive issues. Who has a more competent circle? I agree with that too. I agree with that too. That's funny. Me and my son just had that conversation. I was like, I don't know. Because they both like, I'm not saying there should be an age limit, but they both old as hell. They both old as hell. This is wild that Al Gore is younger than both of them. I didn't realize that until like a couple days ago. Al Gore, who we haven't seen since NBA Jam, since he was a playable character in NBA Jam when I was like in middle school or something. Al Gore is younger than Biden and Trump, which is wow. Um, I think that's a fair point, though. The cabinets are going to play a vital role, but it's just the presentation and the optics. As much as as something could not be true, but if optics appear as if it is true, it's going to be a problem. You know, that's one of the things, and a lot of the jobs I work, a lot of things that a lot of conduct that people engaged in wasn't necessarily fraud, but the optics of it just looked bad. And I think this is one of those situations. And I think the media is just kind of they're actually reporting on it for once now, but I think it's getting, increased by the media because every time Biden speaks now, they're like, this is his big boy meeting. Like, is he going to sound articulate? It's like every time he's in front of the public, the expectation is, okay, this is going to be the meeting where he sounds like he has it all together, and then he comes out and is always a flub. It's like LeBron James' son. To me, I don't think LeBron James' son can play basketball. Personally, I think he can play. He can whip my ass, but I don't think he's an NBA level talent. He averaged 4 points in college. His first game, he had 4 points. His second game, he had 3 points. His third game, he had 8 points. His average is around 4 points. He's a 4 point player. Like, I don't think he has the ability to give 32 points as much as I want to see it done. And so people watching Biden speak saying that if this is his chance to have a good presentation, to not have gaffles, that's like somebody saying this is Bronny chance to score 32 points. He just don't have it in him to score 32 points. I think Biden, even though if you actually listen to what he's saying actually makes sense, but he has these periods of incoherent communication, which is just going to get beat over the head, and the optics of it is just going to look bad, in my personal opinion. It's crazy. We got a shit show going on over here. Hey, y'all people externally, y'all countries across the pond, stop laughing at us. We trying to get our shit together over here. Hey, I appreciate everybody who tuned in on the live, who left a comment, who interacted. Much love. Appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good one. Be blessed. I'm gonna see y'all this week later on, and we're gonna have a guest probably this Friday, because the next Friday I'm gonna be doing security at the club for my son and his rap career that's not gonna get off the ground because we team STEM over here. Y'all have a good one. Take care. Be blessed. Peace.